Welcome to the discussion this afternoon. It's on the air filtration and purification world markets, and with a big difference that we now have a major initiative to upgrade the report with a very detailed focus on the coronavirus and all the implications for air filter media and equipment suppliers. Obviously, the market is going to be radically transformed by the novel coronavirus pandemic. The McIlvaine Company has been analyzing the air filter market and providing market research for decades, and this is certainly the most traumatic change in the market we've ever seen. The report's being expanded to provide the latest forecasts on the media, filters, and systems for use in the pandemic. Long-range aspects such as excess supply capability of media, or alternatively a pandemic which keeps reoccurring, are continually assessed. And there is a lot of discussion about the fact that, like the swine flu, this might be recurring, and that there may be also protocols which are going to keep the market permanently changed. So continuous assessment of the science and technology is undertaken because the market is a function of which products are necessary to provide the necessary results. The market is shaped by a number of decision trees, each of which pollinates the others. We're going to show you some general examples, but then we're going to get into the specific examples for gas turbines, which is another one of the aspects that's covered in the system. McIlvaine analyzes each of these decision trees. McIlvaine is performing this function on an accelerated basis relative to the coronavirus, just as it did after the Gulf oil spill, when it helped NASA and dissolved oxygen analyzer suppliers determine which instrument type was best suited for the underwater drones, which were used to detect how far the spill was traveling. The report has monthly updates plus more frequent alerts. It also includes client briefings and webinars. The increased production and increased revenue per unit for both media and finished filters are creating a very large air filter market relative to the pandemic. So the questions are, how big will the market be at its peak? So, where is this peak going to be? Is it going to be this year, next year, or is it going to be a prolonged peak? So when will that peak occur? How big is it going to be? And also whether new and better technology will be developed, which is certainly very likely, in which case the revenues may hold up better than they would under the worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is that there'll be an oversupply, and this will lead to low prices during the decline. So at the peak, you've got higher prices per unit than you have in the decline, but with improved filter choices, either the media, the equipment, or the systems, there is a chance for the revenues to be permanently improved. And certainly, even in furnace filters, the fact that 3M developed Filtrate changed the whole market in terms of revenues per unit, certainly shows this can be done. So there certainly is a big potential for filters which will more reliably eliminate the coronavirus. And there's another big market for capture systems which protect against the spread of the virus through the HVAC systems. The potential for improved filter systems to generate large revenues even after the pandemic subsides are being analyzed. So these markets are determined by the choices made by individuals relative to safety, cost, and comfort. The choices are influenced by the application. Each decision tree is pollinated by the others. So the comfort decision tree then implicates the cost decisions and so forth here. So the coronavirus has a new decision tree based on emotion rather than logic. So you've got another factor here, which is people that want to feel safe, whether it makes them feel, whether actually say wearing a medical mask is any safer for them or not, which has been proven not to be the case, although they help them not communicate to other people. So the air filter report has got huge numbers. It's got 50-some thousand forecasts in it, and for every country of the world, here is India, for example, we have forecasts for 2016 through 2024 in each of these different industries and commercial segments here. Now, within each of those segments, let's say BioClean here in India, so you would have BioClean in India, you would have another forecast segmentation just by the type of filter. So when you add all this up, you've got 25,000 forecasts that are provided on an Excel spreadsheet and updated. So we have a massive supplement to the report, which we've been producing for 20 or 30, I guess over 30 years now. And we're going to be trying to answer all the questions that the supplier needs to know about where his product can be best employed or how it should be redesigned to meet the needs of the pandemic. The media supplier needs to know whether HEPA filters are needed and whether they should be combined with media to absorb gases and whether media should be impregnated with catalyst for photocatalytic oxidation. So the equipment supplier needs to know this and how to apply that media and equipment for airplanes, ships, and other mobile transport media, residential, commercial, and government buildings, hospitals and dental offices, including the waiting and emergency rooms, operating suites, isolation rooms, and general HVAC systems. And the equipment itself can range from the patient breathing filters, miniature room purifiers, large room purifiers, and we've arbitrarily picked 12 meters cubed per minute as a standard size for these larger purifiers, or even a complete portable room isolation system, or in general HVAC. So the industry needs to understand the technology uncertainties which will drive the market. So can coronavirus survive to travel through HVAC ductwork and provide a viable threat to occupants elsewhere? CDC says no, but the researchers say yes. So this is a huge issue, because if the answer is that it does travel through the ductwork and you've got a lot of knowledgeable people saying it does, then there are major filtration needs that have to be employed. So viruses are too small to be captured directly in HEPA filters, but the question is whether is diffusion Brownian, which is Brownian movement, sufficient to remove them through collision with fibers and particles? The answer seems to be yes, although the jury is not completely in on this. So there's a question of virus survival in humid versus dry air and on surfaces. How does the difficulty of capture of this coronavirus differ from other coronaviruses and other viruses? How many times per hour does the air in a room need to be purified to cost effectively minimize risk? And there you've got how big is the risk, and this depends on the deadliness of the virus itself. Are there game-changing technologies which will shape future markets? So the market answers that are needed by media and equipment suppliers are: how large is the market in each application in each country in the present and the future? Who will be the key decision makers? Governmental, OEM, operators. How much fluctuation in price will occur between times of high demand and lower demand? Will media companies be able to keep up with the needs of the filter producers? Will countries impose import or export restrictions on media or equipment, as they certainly are now doing? To what extent will purchasers buy the lowest true cost product rather than the one best advertised? And this is more relevant to these room purifiers, which are being advertised to some extent without backup support, evidential support. Who will be the major competitors for each product in each region? What are the routes to market? Retail, distributor, sales rep, OEM. And then how to validate the true cost, the low true cost. By validate, we mean convince the buyer that a product does have the lowest total cost for his needs. And that includes magazines, associations, conferences, and webinars. And we're helping clients navigate all of those options as well. So that being said, what I'd like to do now is to actually turn to some of the material that's up on our website. And let's first go to the link on our website that has the information on this report. So this is NO22, air filtration and purification. And it is, the base report is $3,300, but the new addendum supplement is another $1,600 and results in a package price of $4,900. And it includes a lot of different things, including, as you see the list here, but the monthly market supplement, client briefs, and webinars. And let's show you what the monthly update on the coronavirus alone looks like here. So this is a sample. Here's the one for yesterday. So again, we're asking the question, can the coronavirus spread through the HVAC system? And the answer that Singapore and Purdue and people like that are giving us is yes, they can. And therefore, there needs to be major upgrades of filter efficiency. And you've got, even with the coronavirus, you've got new filtration requirements for conducting autopsies. There was an interesting analysis of the Diamond Princess, and CDC was essentially saying that the viruses would not carry from one passenger to another, but as you know, 400 of the passengers got it. And the argument was because the air goes through the HVAC system in a relatively inefficient filter, and then comes back and goes into the individual cabins, and then goes back out again. But there's no air flowing from one cabin to another. And CDC was arguing on that basis there shouldn't be any transmission. But again, the experts are saying that's not the case. The big question is, what is needed to address the problem? And so you're looking at the offerings of a number of different companies. BioSafe Air, for instance, has a good graph here showing the levels of efficiency and with their BioSafe Air, which does use the 3M Filtrete 17 level filter, how it performs. CamFil has got a lot of different initiatives in this area. Livsdahl, who's using the CamFil filters, has a new offering coming out this fall to address the coronavirus problem, and it is the HEPA 13 filter, but combined with the pre-filter and the carbon molecule filters, post filters. Again, this is the monthly update, which is not organized. It's more organized as a news delivery rather than an analytical tool. But I think it's interesting that Johnson Controls, in just a matter of a few weeks, was able to put in an HVAC system and filters for a hospital in China. Paul has done a lot of work with the airlines, and they basically conclude that you can remove the viruses at a very high level with the HEPA filters. And they also cite the lack of humidity in the airplanes as helping in that regard. There are a lot of these room purifiers that make a lot of claims. Here's one, for instance, that uses photocatalytic oxidation and was assessed by Consumer Reports, and the performance was rated not very high. Another thing I'd like to mention is that there's all sorts of different modules and arrangements that may move from the clean room industry into other areas. And one certainly is entryways where you can have a HEPA filtered entryway. The Vanguard's healthcare has an interesting approach. They provide a complete modular isolation room, and it's a class 10 operating theater that can be moved from hospital to hospital. And in this particular hospital, where there was a flood or some other problem, they were immediately able to be up and running with a mobile operating room. So this is another aspect that could be more widely applied. There's a lot of good information coming out from the associations, and we certainly need to coordinate with them, and ASHRAE being one of them. That takes us through that portion of the system analysis today. What I'd like to do is actually go on to the actual service of the air filtration and purification. You might note that one of our strengths, I believe, is that we're into all these different areas. We're going to show you something in gas turbine engine decisions in a minute. But the you have all these different areas, and one, again, it's this pollination. One builds on the other. But in air filtration purification, which is the report that we're talking about here, you do have all these different areas. So when you get this report, you can click on any industry. You can click on any classification. You can click on any region of the world, or you can click on any country. So that's how you can quickly determine those combinations. And we have all sorts of other aspects, as you can see, in terms of the technical information on the side, in terms of buildings and bioclean applications and pharmaceutical, and again, things like this gas turbine, and in the electronics industry, and miscellaneous applications, and even an intelligence system. So we're gathering information on the articles that are being presented in the media, and so more efficient synthetic media for gas turbines and so forth there. So these are all company profiles, updates, networking directories, and it's all part of the package. The one other thing I'd like to show you then too is what we're doing in the gas turbine area. We have what we call these silo busters. So not only do you get the information in the air filter report on gas turbines, but there's an opportunity to be interfacing with the customers, and you would get these silo busters, for instance, on the gas turbine and reciprocating engine decisions. And I'll just click on that one. And the gas turbine intake filters is just one of the many areas that we're pursuing here. But the gas turbine intake filter information is also supplied in the market report, the air filtration market report. So you get all this benefit here of, again, this pollination with the gas turbine people, and the questions about what type of filter should be chosen for a gas turbine inlet in a desert area on an oil rig with lots of sea salt and so forth, and then covering who's doing what where. So for instance, here is Filtration Expo or Filt Expo that was held just a couple of weeks ago. Here were all the suppliers of the filter media for gas turbines, and we divided it by F9 and below and E10 and above, and whether it was a pre-filter or whether it was the final filter, whether it was static or non-static. So the system is continuous. It's been going on for many, many years. And we are also interfacing with the utilities at the power shows, and we cover it in another thing called the utility alerts, where we're covering what's going on in various different applications, like on oil pipelines here. And then at the shows themselves, who is showing the gas turbines and filter systems. So we're doing all of this in the gas turbine decisions, gas intake filter guide, and tracking the new designs of gas turbine inlet filters. And then for some of the suppliers, all the different things they offer in addition to the gas turbine inlet filters. So this, I think, gives you an overview of what we're doing with air filtration and purification. And we would appreciate the opportunity to discuss it more with you. And I'm Bob McIlvaine, and you can reach me at 847-226-2391. Thanks for your attention.